reality shows are full of grifters. People just want to be on TV.
Yeah.
So they want to be on TV. Yeah, and the casting. And then and there's some seasons that just bad, kind of horrible people. I'm not really that
I don't mind so much.
Welcome to Dr. Drew After Dark. Please be advised that Dr. Drew After Dark may contain sexually oriented content and be unsuitable for young children.
Hey everyone, welcome to Dr. After Dark. We appreciate you being here as always. Love those emails at drafterdark@gmail.com and love even more the voice messages at 818-253-1693. And don't forget the merch at store.ymhstudios.com. My privilege to welcome today our guest. It is, of course, Rob Iler. You know him, that's right, you know him from Pajama Pants and, of course, Where My Mom's At as well. And you used to know him from The Sopranos, but I think of you now more in terms of Pajama Pants. And good to see you after all. It's been a little while.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is great.
In fact, I think I was in your studio doing Trash Tuesday recently, and I don't think you guys are in that studio anymore, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Because I said, I've been here before. I did Pajama Pants here, and they go, they're not here anymore.
Wow,
so
good memory. I didn't even think you'd remember doing Pajama Pants.
Oh, no, that was fun. Well, you guys, I think, were kind of just getting started then.
We were just getting started.
Yeah, and I could tell it was going to be a good, popular podcast. It was very well done.
Yeah. I wanted to apologize for when I had you on.
Whatever you're going to say, you don't need to apologize because I have no issues.
Totally, but it was like, I feel like, because you were our first guest, that wasn't just like one of our friends, And I feel like the approach when we have a guest on is always like, I want to ask this person about them and find out about them. Where when you were coming on, I was like, I just want to tell Dr. Drew about us.
You should see me on Trash Tuesday. It was a full session with each of them.
Right.
So I'm used to that, in that room particularly. But no, I'm accustomed to that. That's fine. And I like it. I actually like it because I here's what I like. I like talking about things that I think are important to somebody. And if that's important to you, I'm ready to talk about it. That's it. When people are connected to a feeling and they want to talk about it, I'm ready. It's the weirdest thing in the world to me when people are unwilling or afraid to ask about important things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, why wouldn't you? If somebody had an addiction problem or something, why wouldn't you ask about it? How you doing? Everything good? How you feel about it? I mean, it's important to you. And even if let's say you're in relapse, whatever, you know what I mean? It's still important to you. You still have something to say about it. You'd want this, you'd want the information and support. I don't know. It's very weird for me. All right. So it's weird for me that people won't talk about these things. But
I bring up New York a lot because I was born and raised there in this, but I feel like when you come from New York and go somewhere else, it's even more apparent when someone, it's like, what do you mean you won't talk about that important thing? Like, because I feel like, again, I feel like I'm repeating myself all the time because I talk about New York so much, but it's like when you interact with 1,000 people just to go get a cup of coffee, it cuts out a lot of the bullshit.
Yes, it does.
When you're constantly, you don't have time to be like, I want everyone to like me, so I'm gonna manufacture my personality to be this. You're like, this is me. Like I can't hide.
And that's you. All right, get it on. That's
it.
You know what I mean? Here we go.
It's like boom.
And by the way, all different kinds of people all together, which is really the great glory of New York. Everyone just gets along. They're all trying to row in the same direction. Let's get it on here.
Yeah.
Where in New York?
So I grew up on 83rd Street between 1st and 2nd, and then I moved to 92nd and 2nd. But like I was always around.
Always the Upper East Side.
Always Upper East Side, Yorkville. It's just the most, like, I get in, like, I pull up in a cab to New York City, and I feel...
I love New York.
I feel it.
I've been a little bit worried about it lately. I was there several times during the pandemic, and even lately, it's kind of falling apart. It's weird. Some of what I love so much about it, I can't access so much or so safely anymore. It's not. I don't know. I'm just waiting for it to sort out. I'm hoping it gets better. I feel like it will.
Yeah. Well, when you're going to the Robert Wagner houses, it's a little more dangerous, when you're heading up to see RPC, you got to stay downtown. You got to go to nice restaurants.
Yeah, but I went to RPC's place. It was fine back then. In fact, I mean, so you know where it is. It's sort of east-ish Harlem.
Yeah, I grew up like right there.
Oh yeah, it's an interesting area. And people were stopping me like, hey man, love blah, 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 blah. They were great. I love people up there. But now it's not the people that live there. It's this stuff that's infiltrating, you know what I mean? That's just drifting around New York that I worry about. And also getting on the trains. I think I took the train up there. No problem, you know?
Yeah.
Now it's like weird.
Yeah, I mean, I went back for the holidays and like, for me, it's not such a big difference because I'm like, oh, this is like New York in the 90s.
It's true.
Yeah, and I'm like, this feels fine. Like, you know,
Okay,
but
good.
when I was in California, the way that they were making it seem, which is what they do with a lot of shit, is like, you can't walk down the street without getting, you know, stabbed or this. And then you go back and you're like, oh, it's, you know, it's like
Just keep your wits about you, but that's about it.
It's like 2000.
All right, good.
You know?
Well, you've inspired me again. I'm going back in a couple of weeks, and I just love it there. So
yeah, stay under, you know, 23rd Street. And it's all the same. Yeah.
And you lived for a while in Vegas. Tell me about that.
Yeah. So when I was at my peak of like partying and everything, I went to Vegas for 2 weeks to play in the World Series of Poker, and I came home under 2 years, but about a year and a half later. Yeah, and I just had like my suitcase, and I was like, "Fuck it!" Like I'm a single guy. I have no job right now. Like I love poker. When am I gonna have this opportunity?
Did you have fun doing it?
Yeah, I mean, parts of it were fun, and I could look back. But then I moved back when I was sober, and like I signed a year lease, and 1 month in, I was like, "What the fuck did I do?" Like I was like, "This is not the place that I remember," because I didn't have the, you know, like I
were loaded.
Yeah, when my friends were coming,
there's
and
good
they were
recovery there, though. There's a good recovering community in Vegas. If you
Really?
can find it, yeah, you have to find it.
Because see, my friends were coming out, and like I used to love when my friends would come to Vegas and I lived there, but I was like, oh no, I'm not going to do that with you. Like I'm not going to the strip club, and like I'm not doing this stuff, and not because I would feel tempted there or this. It's more so I'm just like, I don't want to do that. Like,
Well, and when you're particularly early in recovery, your part of your job is to live a certain kind of life.
yeah.
You know, an honest life, a rigorously honest life, a good life, and that's part of the practice of recovery. And I'm not sure those are the environments to continue that practice.
Right. And you know, I was very lucky that even in my addiction, I was always living a very honest life because I didn't have a boss. I didn't have a wife. I didn't have, like, I just had friends who were doing the same shit I was doing.
You had no one to lie to.
Right, yeah. So it was like, you know, I was just I was raised in a very, like, my family, they're very harsh. Like, they're a lot of stuff, but they're always very fucking honest. Like, they tell you, so, like, I don't know,
You didn't hide stuff.
Yeah, never.
Good.
You know,
'Cause hiding's, part of the illness, right? It's
Right.
part of the shame and hiding and all that stuff. What kind of bottom did you reach that made you want to change?
so on my 28th birthday, I took about 35 Molly, and it was when I didn't take like 35 in my hand. Yeah, you know, it was like I took 15 in over 6 hours, and then like for the next 2 or 3 days, I was just popping 1 or 2 to like maintain, and obviously doing other shit with it. But when I went to sleep and woke up, I thought I had done like permanent damage. And by the way, like living in Vegas, doing all this stuff, I had built up a tolerance. So it wasn't like I don't do Molly, now I'm doing 35. It was like my normal night was anywhere from 10 to 15, and I was taking, 15 Percocets a day. I was on Xanax for 7, 8, 9, 10 years every single day.
That's hard to get off.
See, and that's the thing. People talk about opiates, and I'm like, really? Because to me,
those
Xanax were the only thing where I was like, I needed help. Like I needed to go.
You'll have a seizure. You'll seize. And you'll climb the walls. It's some of the wildest withdrawals I've seen have been from Xanax.
Poof.
Yeah.
It was. I think about it now, and I'm like I'd rather wake up tomorrow addicted to everything I've ever been addicted
Except
to
that
than
one.
just or just benzo.
The real problem with the benzo for you is not that withdrawal, is that the Percocet and Xanax together is a fatal combination, and doctors prescribe them together all the freaking time. And those two are what make you stop breathing. It's what killed Prince. Everybody. They all die of the same thing, benzo, opiate.
I took them every day for 7 years.
Hard to die of an opiate by itself, hard to die of a benzo by itself, really easy to die of both of them together. Really easy. Yeah. So you're very lucky. And so what did you think you had done? What led you to believe you had damaged yourself?
Like how I felt was, when you see like a puppy who was taken in from like a shelter and he's like in the corner shivering and like that's how I was. It was like I could like loud noises. If I heard someone in the hall, like I was everything. It was just my body felt cold, but like it was just really bad. It was.
Were you having any like when people get to that state from ecstasy, sometimes they'll just like stop speaking and stuff. They have trouble communicating.
Yeah, I was living in my head for sure, where it was just like, man, this is really fun. And like, cut to 5 days later, it was my birthday, and I was seeing a girl at the time, and she arranged like a dinner for me. And I was like, I'm laying in the back of the car. I'm like, I can't eat. I can't do anything. I just feel, but it wasn't that happened. And then I was like, I'm done. I had gotten like, that was kind of one of those nights where I was like, this is going to be like one of my last hurrahs. Like, I was like, I want to be.
So now I got to get with it. Get really going.
Yeah. So as soon as that happened, I was like, yo, fuck this. Like, I was like, afterwards, I was like, I'm done. Yeah. Like, I was like, I don't want to do this anymore,
And, addiction is I hope people understand that it gets funny in the disease. And
totally.
When you go to meetings, people tell the stories, they laugh. It's one of the things I like about recovery and addiction. It's just so funny. It's not funny when the person's in it in that moment. But it's funny when you reminisce about it and think, oh my God, how it's crazy, a certain kind of crazy. And it's a funny kind of crazy.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you're sober. It's good. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank
you.
It's
good. It's hard work. And I know what that does. I know what that's like.
Yeah, I think like I'm really lucky in that I don't have a full-time job, so I was able to put like all of my energy into it. And it wasn't a thing where I was like, it took probably about 3 years, but just with like completely changing my lifestyle.
How long have you been sober now?
My birthday will be 10 years.
Okay. So, when did I see you at Pajama Pants? Like 4 years ago, 3 years ago?
Maybe 3 years ago or something like that.
You seem more calmer now than like really like centered. Is something...
No, there was probably just you were the first guest, so I was probably like all nervous, and I'm like, I don't know what we're gonna do here today,
That's hysterical.
But I've been like meditating for like 1,500 days in a row, and I have all my working out and eating healthy and this, and it's just like I'm very grateful that I'm not. I just checked into a hotel recently, and there was like a full bar on the counter, and it just made me like so grateful that I was like, I'm not someone who's like I need help with this. Like I need to call someone. I need to talk to somebody. Like I just hosted.
Sober a while though. It's you might have been 6 months in, but now it's good.
Yeah, but I was just hosting my friend's bachelor party, and like I saw all these guys drinking and partying, and I not for 1 second of these 4 days was it like, man, that'd be nice to grab a
All you have to think is where it goes.
100%.
But your disease will block that sometimes. You got to be careful. You got to remind yourself. So it won't be so bad. So one last question about this experience, which is sometimes after all that ecstasy, you can have mood disturbances that kind of persist. Any mood problems?
No, never more than like my angry Irish German family growing up.
So nothing that bothers you.
Yeah, nothing. No, nothing crazy. But I do get sometimes that like, but I just associate it to everyone in my family that like New York. Like that, like, well, what do you do? Like, but I think that's everyone.
Certainly, it's you. Certainly,
you. Right.
So RPC, we brought him up a minute ago, and we're gonna talk about some emails in just a second. But he, you seemed interested in him and his life, and Robert, I love him too. And going to his house was quite an experience. Do you have any questions about it? Because a lot of people didn't see the second video, which was the more dramatic one, where you get a load of what was going on there.
Well, what's weird is like because I grew up in New York City, there's a lot of guys. There's guys like him, but there's also guys like. When somebody's from like Mississippi and they see, Joey Diaz.
Yeah, of course.
When people see Joey Diaz, they're like, oh my God, I've never seen anybody like this guy. And they're so enamored. Where for me, I'm like, oh, this guy makes me feel at home.
Right. He's like he's just that guy. He's a Staten Island guy.
Totally. And that's when I see like RPC or something like this, I'm like, oh, because I grew up in a building just like the Wagner houses.
The little crazy hall.
Exactly.
After going to RPC, this is what bothered me. When I was I never really examined those buildings. I've been around them forever, but I went, going in and looking at them and seeing how the rooms are laid out and stuff. And the elevators are the size of this screen. They're this is the dimensions.
Yeah.
And the hallways are as wide as this screen.
Yeah.
And when COVID broke out, I thought, of course it's going to break out in those buildings.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? There's no ventilation, none.
Yeah.
And everyone's just right up against each other. And I really believe if they mapped out where the serious illnesses occurred, I'm going to tell you it's in those buildings. I'm sure of it.
So I grew up on the 34th floor of a building like that.
Where on first
92nd and 2nd.
92nd and 2nd.
Yeah. And it's just, it was, and like we had guys who would like.
Those are the big ones that are like this, right? They're sort of a crisscrossy.
So there's 3 of them. And
but they're
kind
of, aren't they sort of like at an angle?
They're like red brick.
Yeah, I know exactly which ones they are.
Yeah.
Those,
so that's
the big ones. There's some of those down in the 20s on the west side too.
Yeah. That's exactly what they look like. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they have like 40 apartments on every floor.
Yeah.
And you would be, you'd be going to do your laundry.
These are the developments. These were what are they called? The housing complexes. This is
and
the government housing.
And they were income housing when I was growing up.
Yep.
And they, you would go to like get your laundry and they'd be like, oh, Vinny shit in the washing machine again, and you'd have to be like, oh, fuck. So like when I see this,
Vinny?
oh my God, this guy was incredible. Like there were just so many characters of like, I remember there was this guy
This
who
is a
was like,
podcast. You got to collect all these guys and let's get them together. Let's go talk to them, examine them. I'll meet you in New York and we'll do some. I'm not kidding. We'll get a camera and we'll go talk to some of these guys.
What happened was they changed the building from income housing. So now it's like doctors and nurses.
No, I know.
Because
these are big apartments. When you get right down to it, they're like 6 rooms.
They were, I grew up in. So when I first moved there with my mom, they had us in a studio. But then you're on a waiting list because you're a boy and your mom is a girl. They have to give you a 2-bedroom.
Oh, interesting.
But if you're a girl and a girl, they don't.
Oh, wow.
So we were on the list for a 2-bedroom, and however many years later, one finally opened up. And I went from living with my mom in a room like much smaller than this to just like we had a fucking 2-bedroom. It was like you have your own room,
and people, if you're not from New York, you don't understand. 2-bedroom is big in New York.
That's insane. Like having a door that I was, however,
a door that you could close. Yeah, that's crazy.
I might have been.
And
I don't
probably
know.
your own bathroom with that too, right?
No, we had one bathroom,
okay,
but it was like maybe I was 10 years old. It was the first time I ever had a door, and I was like, oh my God, because I grew up in my grandparents' apartment where it was everybody, and there was no door.
That same building?
That's 83rd between 1st and 2nd.
Oh, okay, that's that one. Yeah.
It was technically a 1-bedroom, but there was no door.
That's by Bellevue, right? Isn't it right? Isn't that right there?
Is it?
I think so.
83rd Street between 1st. I thought Bellevue was more downtown, but I have no idea.
Is it further down? Yeah.
I could be totally wrong.
I feel like I always get off FDR right around there to go in.
I know New York Hospital's right down. That's
maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, like 70.
Yeah, 70 something.
Yeah.
Love that. I love that part of town. It's so
love
fun.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then that's home.
And so, any more questions about RPC since we've examined him carefully now and to still talk with him? He's a sweet man.
Yeah, I feel like I know everything about him. I've taken such a dive.
This program is brought to you by BetterHelp Online Therapy. And BetterHelp wants to remind you to prioritize you, your health, your mental health. People should not be wondering why we're kind of not feeling so great lately. It's been very stressful. People are overwhelmed. A lot of the physical symptoms we have have kind of an emotional source to them. Why not figure out and take care of what's going on? BetterHelp is customized online therapy that offers video, phone, even live chat sessions. With your therapist, you don't have to even see anyone on camera if you don't want to. I've referred family, friends. I've been very pleased with the services they provide. And one of the good things that came out of COVID is we're used to using electronic media for communication. Use BetterHelp Online Therapy. It's much more affordable than in-person therapy. You can be matched with a therapist in under 48 hours. As I said, it's a stressful time. We're starting to take care of our physical health, thank goodness, rather than just hiding out. We're starting to get out and exercise. Need to take care of our mental health as well. It's taken a beating, and it's sometimes manifesting physically. BetterHelp Online Therapy is a great alternative for you. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/afterdark. That is better, HELP.com/afterdark. Masterworks is a platform that allows anyone to invest in artwork. With Masterworks, anyone can buy and sell shares in artwork worth millions. Picasso, Monet, Warhol, and more. And contemporary art prices have appreciated 14% annually on average from 1995 to 2020. Unlike some assets, which can be just made out of thin air, there's only a very limited supply of this asset. And as time progresses, the supply will only continue to become more scarce, making it more sought after. Unlike NFTs or cryptocurrency, art is a real tangible, just like real estate. But unlike a house or land, you can actually transport this asset and you can sell it anywhere in the world in any currency. The Wall Street Journal recently called the art market to be amongst the hottest on earth. In 2021, 85% of wealth managers recommended art as part of wealth offering, this according to Deloitte. Masterworks has over 400,000 members. The wealthy tuck away a good chunk of their worth, that's like 10 to 30% on average, into alternative assets like art. Masterworks has securitized over $500 million worth of contemporary art. Our viewers can skip their wait list. Go to masterworks.art/Drew. See important Regulation A disclosures at masterworks.io/CD. Again, that is masterworks.art/Drew.
He is big with, he's still doing Lucifer's Lair, you know. You can visit him on social media.
He told me he was pants when he answered the door, right? He didn't have pants on, or he did?
I don't remember.
You're thinking of when Potter visited him.
Oh, when Potter.
Yeah, I think he was dressed.
Because he opened the door when Potter visited, and he's like, oh, you know, because that's what we were talking about. Is like, because I played poker for so long, is like you try and pick up tells on people. And when I normally see hoarders, they're very defensive about this.
Because they don't want anybody to touch their shit.
Right. And they're like, that's why this is there. And when I saw RPC, it was like he was living with a hoarder that bothered him.
Yeah.
You know?
So his hoarder self, he couldn't get under control.
Right. Yeah. And he's like, oh, that stuff over there. Like, yeah, I'm just, disgusted by himself, which was like,
he wasn't a lot of it. There was a lot of stuff. There was a lot of like dolls and ornaments and things. And he would be, oh, that's just my thing. I'm just kind of into that. A lot of dismissive, minimizing, that kind of stuff. And in the second tape, I actually put on some of the masks and things, you know, that says, you know, call blah blah blah. And there's a room with birds in it.
Right. Did you go in there?
Yeah, I went in there. I went in everything.
That I didn't see. I have to see that.
Yeah. And the bird room was actually the only vent, had an open window. And so that was kind of a nice room to be in. But the birds.
How many birds?
You know, I didn't get a good look. He didn't seem to want me in there very much. He kind of scooted me out pretty quick. But I would say 3 or 4, maybe 5 birds, something like that. But the birds, you know, birds spit their seeds all over the place.
Yeah.
Well, there was quite a display.
The whole floor was just the bottom of a bird cage.
There wasn't bird shit, but there was bird seed everywhere.
Oh,
it was sort of like a mound of it. And but it was nicely ventilated, and you know, he said that was a nice room. And the poor kid with the video camera. The kitchen was where the problems happened.
Yeah.
The kitchen is where there was issues.
Yeah, there was like 12-year-old little Debbies like sitting on the counter.
Explain to people what little Debbies are.
Yeah, they're just like a white trash snack.
They're like Hostess cupcakes or something.
Right,
they're individually wrapped cakes. There was 500 of them. Plus, like people had brought them over or something. There they are. They're little Debbies. They weren't. Everything was in a saran wrap, you know, a cellophane wrapper. I could see the cakes, but it was just
feel it right now.
It was
inside.
only cakes. It was only cakes, and it was just only carbohydrates, like only starch, and piled up, and to the point where it scared me for him. I was like, dude, you could maybe already have diabetes. I don't know. Are you getting proper medical care? So. But Tom and I one day want to take him. Maybe you should join us at dinner at Per Se.
Would love
with
it.
RPC.
Would love it.
That would be that. And I would like to go down and see him do his drag act at Coney Island. So
you're on your own there. I think.
I think that'd be so fun. That's actually more fun for me.
See, I the way that like I live my life now is like I don't want. You know, I was just dating somebody and we went through the like great part of the relationship, the bad part, never raised our voices, no fight, like very opposite of how I grew up. But still, once a week, I love to watch a reality show where they're fighting and everybody's fucking crazy because it gives me it makes me feel at home. And I love to watch someone like RPC over the internet and go, oh, this makes me feel at home, but I don't have to deal with it.
Well, let me ask you this. You're going to advise me on this. The door opened to your mom's house for me accidentally. Right. Because I got to be friendly with Christina, and she invited me onto my podcast, Your Mom's House. And there's Tom this was back in the day when it was at your mom's house. It was at their house.
I remember. I was watching.
And Tom's like, "What do you think of this guy?" And I'm like, "What is happening here?" And I really remember the first time I saw RPC, I was like, "Oh my God, what is wrong with that poor dude? I feel so bad for him." I felt bad for most of the videos, but I really felt bad for RPC. Like you want criminals to beat you and piss on you? It's like, what is going on here? And so crazy. Help me understand. You say you feel at home when you see those guys. Is that Vinny that shits in the washing machine?
Yeah. 100%.
Explain them more to me.
And you know, there was a certain unpredictability that you didn't feel safe around those guys when you were around them in growing up in the building.
Was it mental illness? Was it just
all of it? Yeah, there was a lot of mental illness.
Yeah.
There were then there were just guys who were how do you say retarded now?
non-neurotypical.
Sure, there were guys that were
Ta-ta.
that. Yeah. There were guys that
We'll
were
just say ta-ta for the R word.
There were guys that were everything in the building, and you just there were some
We should
guys.
be celebrated for examining non-neurotypical people, and we're really not trying to make fun of them. We're trying to understand them and connect with them and stuff. What's that, Nadav?
No, yeah, we should definitely get an Emmy for our work in TikTok.
100%. And also, I don't know if you've watched Love on the Spectrum on Netflix.
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
Where it's like people think that when you talk about that, you're making fun, or when I talk about when somebody talks about that, they're making fun of it. Where it's like, no, I already it made me have so much more compassion and love for when you dive deep into it, where it's like, don't look this way, don't talk about this, don't this.
Does it remind you of addiction? How people treat it? It's the same thing.
Same
exact thing. And by the same token, we like to laugh about the disease and stuff. Humor is part of the human experience, and if we're not allowed to laugh about we're intrigued, we're interested, we want to attach to it and connect to it. And laugh about it. People are funny. It's all right.
Yeah,
it's okay. We're not trying to shame and diminish and guilt. We're just trying to share.
Yeah.
People.
It's just so, but it's like
they make me crazy. You're not allowed to use the word addict anymore either. It's shaming. It's like I have never. Have you ever met anybody when you were using who felt ashamed of being a drug addict or worried about using the term addict around them, or really just worried about getting more Molly?
See, that's
it. That's it.
So what are you allowed to call them now?
You have to say substance use disorder and opioid use disorder.
But I always think people who need that aren't long for this world. It's
in their recovery.
In recovery, and whatever their issue is, because whatever the word that you're allowed to say,
it's really the families. It's really not the patients.
Right, but it's whatever word you're allowed to say today, 10 years from now, they're going to be like, that's wrong, and you can't. So it's just over and over, and people want to, and it's you can't. Again, it's the same thing with you see these people now who are we don't want there to be winners and losers in kids' sports, and to me, it's all part of that shit. Where it's well, then when are you supposed to not be a sore loser? When you're supposed to learn that when you're 16, when you've been learning in those young years that it's not okay to. I don't know. It's all just. I think people need to fucking toughen up.
Yeah.
It's deal with.
I'm about to do something. I can't really talk about it, but where I'm going to get my ass whooped really good, in a training sort of thing.
Physically.
In all respects, medically and physically.
Are you going to see RPC again?
No, I'll be in better shape to go though. Once I'm done with this, it's sort of a training thing. It's just a thing.
That's awesome.
And I just think it'd be so good for me. Just so good. I mean, I haven't been yelled at since residency, since high school football. When people would pick me up by my mask, go, dude, I'm trying to help you. You're not listening to me.
Yeah.
It's I got it. You're trying to help me. Good.
Yeah. As soon as you left our podcast, we were like, how is he not on steroids? Because
I wish I were. I'm 63.
63. You're jacked. You're in good shape. With this.
Well, this is now. I'm getting actually in really good shape for this thing I'm going to do. But I would love to take steroids. I would love it.
Why don't you?
Well, now I have prostate cancer. It's impossible. That would kill me. I wish I'd taken them before I got prostate cancer. That would have been fun.
So
and by the way, I worked out in gyms, since I was 14. And I was around dudes using steroids, and I saw what that does. I mean, it's just insane. But,
is it? It's worse for people who have history of prostate cancer in their family to use steroids?
Can't say that. I can't say that. If you personally have had prostate cancer, you cannot use anabolic androgenic steroids.
Right.
But
if you had to make a guess, are you allowed to say that? What you
about
think
people with prostate cancer in your family?
Yeah, in their family.
I wouldn't. I can't. I don't think I can. If you have a first degree relative, dad, sibling, with prostate cancer, your risk of getting it is very, very high. And so I'd worry that you already had it in there, and you could accelerate it. You know what I mean?
Totally.
And we should start, if you have a first degree relative with you, start screening at 40.
Yeah.
Because that's when it tends to come around. And, you don't screw with it. Look, I'm glad I didn't do it because it's also not good for your vascular system and stuff. It just would have been fun. It would have been fun.
Yeah.
And I wish I had. I wish I'd been able to, but I'm glad I didn't. It's not healthy.
See, I wish I started working out at 14 because that's how I feel like that's how you.
It's really how it becomes like brushing your teeth.
100%. And that's how it is for me now, and I'm grateful. But I mean more of like the look. Like I could work out 5 days a week for 3 months, and I look
really
the same.
believe that this muscle group here, genetics.
Totally.
It's just genetic. You either have
100%.
big arm and shoulder or you do not.
Yeah.
And that's it. And then back is the same way. And, so I have nothing else. I just have big arm and shoulder.
Right.
That's what I've got.
And that's like, I have friends who are like, I can't work out my arms because if I do, then I look like a bodybuilder and the rest of my body doesn't fit.
And it gets in the way of doing the pulling and pushing associated with back and shoulder, back and chest. It just takes over. So.
And now since I've started dating again, so I took a year off of dating just to like get myself right. Like I wanted to focus on myself and do all this stuff. And then COVID turned that into like 2 years, which is crazy. But I've noticed since I started dating again, I'm like, I only want to date somebody who works out or is active. And they think that that's like, oh, because you look a certain way. I'm like, no, I don't care how you look. Like I want you to
take care of yourself and
take
be
care of
participating
yourself
in
and not
thing.
look at that as a chore. Like when you want to go spend time doing that with somebody and they go like, oh, you're going to make me do this. Then you're like, no, I don't want to make you do this.
You know that will undermine your ability to do it for sure.
100%.
So it's good. Well, and that's sort of not a bad model for all relationship, which is you should share stuff. You should like the same stuff. You should have the same scripts in life and things. Totally. And it's almost, we have to actually be careful because humans are naturally attracted to people that share our culture and looks and everything else. We have, a little bit of that. We have to kind of be careful to expand it out, but it is natural for people to like the same things that the people they like, sort of thing. Let's do a little bit of, we done with RPC? Had enough of him? Because I'm sure we could talk about it all day.
That's the thing. I could talk about it all day.
I could too. I find him so fascinating. And,
so fascinating.
And he just the last thing, he, his stuff, his online stuff and his sexual behavior stuff, pretty extreme for a guy that just say, oh, it's no big deal. I just dabble in this thing. I want to make sure everybody's happy and entertained. It's really his thing. That's what he says. I just want to make sure people have a good time.
Which makes me wonder, like, even during the most extreme shit that he's having done to him, like when those criminals do come and
does
beat
he have
on
them?
him,
Does that happen?
Oh, for sure.
For sure it happens.
For sure. But the question is he like getting the shit kicked out of him and he's like, yeah, that's okay, just kick me a little lower? Like, or is he like, does it get wild? Like,
oh, next time I talk to him, you got to be there.
Yeah, maybe kick him a little. No, I would go to dinner with
Robert, I got one of your neighbors here. Well, his name is Rob.
I would go to dinner with you guys anytime, but going to his apartment for me, I couldn't do it. I'd throw up as soon as I opened the door.
Why?
I just, that whole, because I just from looking at it, I think I'd throw up as soon as I walked in. The smell, him wearing no pants, the birds.
So you have that there's a certain funk that humans have when they're in that kind of environment, and you evidently been exposed to it before.
Yeah, well, when
and it's not BO, it's something.
No,
it's something else.
Yeah, it's like human mold.
It's that kind of musty kind of smell to it.
And it makes me sick. And it's not something that I go when I leave. I go, oh, I don't smell that anymore.
It stays in your nose.
It stays with me for a long fucking time.
The kid with the camera that came with us was Paul. Was that his name?
Yeah. Paul Brazil.
Paul was very traumatized by it. He had not been exposed to that before. To me, I worked in a county hospital, so I've seen everything. Nothing bothers me.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering, were there lots of apartments like that in your building at the time?
There were a lot of apartments like that, but also just like when you're a drug addict in New York City for such a long time, you just end up at those crazy places. There's times where I'm like, I need to get Percocets. I need to get, and like, you'll just be with people, and next thing you know, you're in a cab to Queens. And you're like, okay, like you're not asking where are we going. All you hear is, hey, we got it. Like, they have Coke there. They have this there.
Did Mike Catherwood tell his meth stories on this program before?
He has told a number of them.
Yeah, my old former Loveline partner was way down the road with addiction and has a lot of stories about going out into the California desert and getting meth and being around some Breaking Bad type situations and just, and horrible situations where guys are, terrible stuff. And they will never do that again. And fast forward 2 days and we got to go back out to that guy and get more meth.
Yeah. And the crazy thing, there was something about my brain that as soon as I saw people doing heroin or meth, no matter where we were, no matter how, I got up and walked out. No matter how fucked up I was. If I saw heroin or
because
meth,
you thought you were going that way, or
I don't know I don't even know the explanation, because no matter how it could be on day 2 of a binge where everyone's doing drugs, and as soon as I saw somebody break out heroin or meth, I just would get up and leave.
oh, it's so lucky.
So lucky, and it was always that. And like,
You must have seen it as a kid or something, scare the shit out of you.
No, you know what? I think maybe it's from like, I don't know if it could be from like documentaries or people in my building, stuff like
That's what I'm
but
saying,
it was
because
just,
you knew how bad it is because you'd been exposed young to it.
yeah, and I think I knew because of how much I loved opiates.
That what would happen to you.
Because I did coke every night for years and years, and I didn't even like coke. You know, where with
That's
opiates,
the thing about cocaine. That's a common thing.
yeah, with opiates, I was like, I fucking love this
Love
shit.
it,
Like,
love it.
I love, because like, it makes every movie better. It makes everything, it makes, the next hour
Are
better.
you able to experience joy and pleasure and stuff now?
Oh, everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because sometimes you can be left behind, heroin particularly, where that becomes hard, difficult to feel,
I feel like my life back when I was an addict I was usually at 100 or like a 1, or like, maybe not a 1 because that's like suicide, but like a 10. And I was always bouncing from those two, where now it's like, I feel like I just kind of live at an 80.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, this is incredible. Like,
and,
I feel
and
a breeze.
more nourishing, satisfying 80.
And I feel a breeze come by, and I'm like, God, I'm so grateful. Like, being grateful for shit, practicing gratitude for me is like the first thing I do when I wake up is I think of 5 things I'm grateful for.
Learn this, people. Learn what he's talking about. Gratitude. When people are grateful, I don't care who you are. If you feel grateful, you're doing fine.
Yeah, and
whatever's going on in your life, if you feel gratitude, you're doing good.
When I had COVID, all I thought the whole time was like, God, I'm so grateful I don't always feel this way. Like, I'm so grateful that I'm not experiencing chronic pain all the time. I'm so grateful that I'm not. And then like, even sometimes when I wake up and I think of something I'm grateful for, that thing 6 hours later might be the thing that's bothering me. And then I just go back to like, oh wait, I was grateful for this 6 hours ago.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just, gratitude for me is...
Let's do some emails. Here we go.
Yes, please.
They like my transition, so I got to go fast. Good morning, Booth Julia's.
Oh, Julia. Good morning, Julia.
Julia's. Nice twist there, buddy. Recently learned from the podcast that panic attacks, sweats, shortness of breath from standing in line at a grocery store might not be healthy. Went to the doctor, was prescribed sertraline. They do, however, make me aggressive, but didn't help me. I went from Clark Kent to Fed smoker real quick. Something that is extremely out of character for me. They also gave me shooting pain in my head. Ooh, they're called a zap. The zaps from sertraline are usually when you stop the medicine. You get a withdrawal syndrome. There can be electricity up your neck and zaps in your front part of your head. What happened calmly throughout the day. The feeling was similar to nail and hammering your thumb. I quit taking them after about 3 months. I like the calming effect the pills provided, but I do not want to be the Hulk. You may have, buddy, you should be careful. You could have some bipolarity. People that are bipolar, the SSRIs will make them high and irritable sometimes. Should I continue with medication? I don't feel the living with the side effects will be any better than the life I already have. Talk to your doctor. I can't possibly answer that for you. It would be irresponsible, but I'm worried that they have you on the wrong medicine, and I'm worried that you may have a little bipolar in there. A mood stabilizer might do better for you than these SSRIs. And by the way, I was going to do a streaming show recently, or a podcast I think I was going to do on the sexual side effects of SSRI. People, they will shut you down sexually, where you just don't have sex drive, you don't have orgasm, you don't have satisfaction with orgasm. And the problem is a small percentage of people will have that permanently. Same thing with Propecia, everybody. If you're taking Propecia for baldness, if you're noticed low libido, I think you should get off it because it can be permanent sometimes. All the patients I have prescribed Propecia to, I've called them personally and said, hey, you got to know this has been well documented. And some of them stay on it anyway. They don't care.
Which is just crazy.
Yep.
There's a person, there's the type of person I want to ask you about.
Go ahead.
Okay, so at 90 Day Fiance, we're talking about, I think the type of person that
you
I
overheard me
find-
talking about.
Yeah.
So
you were
that
talking
is
about.
Tom and Christina got us into that, and I hate them for it.
Love it. I fucking love it. But by the way, it depends on the season. I know right away in the beginning I could be like, this is gonna be shit. I feel like they're acting.
They're acting. They not just want to get a green card. They want to be on TV. That's when I'm pissed.
Yeah.
Because you can tell there are people that want the reality shows are full of grifters. People just want to be on TV.
100%. Yeah.
So
Casting.
they want to be on TV. Yeah, and the casting, and then and there's some seasons that just bad, kind of horrible people. I'm not really
That I don't
interested
mind
in
so
them.
much.
So who's your favorite?
Who's my favorite? I mean, I loved the beginning with that. What was her name? Like Anissa or no, not Anissa, where she was fighting. No, this is back in the day. Yeah, where she was on Anfisa when she was fighting with the guy who sold the weed and got thrown in jail.
Oh, I don't remember. Maybe I didn't
put
get in.
Anfisa, Anfisa.
Oh, I don't think I know this couple.
Oh my God, you have to go back and watch. She is like the devil. I mean, you have to watch how insane. But also, there is part of her where you go, well, she's just brutally honest a lot. But then there's times where you're like, she was probably the craziest person ever on the show.
More than, what was the one that got all the plastic surgery with Coley?
Oh, Colty?
Colty.
Yeah, and what was her name, Anissa or something? Colt and Larissa.
Larissa, yeah.
Colt and Larissa. Oh my God, her living with a parent. So that brings me to what I wanted to ask you, which is like, I think for me, out of all the people to watch, whatever their mental illness is, whatever this, the most interesting to me is somebody who is like balling, but they're broke, which is like on this episode, on this season right now, there's a kid who's like spends all this money on clothes and he has these crazy outfits and he's and then he tells his mom, you never have to worry about me. I could sell snow to an Eskimo. I could do this. But then he's living with his parents in the spare bedroom.
Yeah.
I could watch that forever.
Really?
And I don't know what it is. I can't, like a lot of this stuff, I will sit and take the time and break it down. And I sit in this, I go, why am I so...
Do you like it or hate it?
I hate it.
Okay, so you love to hate them.
I hate it, but
so
more
women
than,
watch some of the housewife stuff.
Really more than hate or confused.
I'm confused by it.
Well, that's what I was going to say. More than hate or love, it's confusion where I go, like all this other stuff I could figure out. I could go, well, here's this person's problem. This is this person. Where with that person, I just can't figure it out. I go, what are you doing? Like, just stop buying the stuff and you don't have to live with your mom.
Yeah.
But why are you buying $300 sneakers today when you could be...
Just all roads lead to narcissism with this stuff.
And it's also not, because I guess you could figure out why living with their parents would be a thing, but sometimes it's not even living with their parents. It's like living in a shithole.
Yeah.
And you go like, what? And they're ashamed that they live there, but then they go and they buy.
But they're out in the world looking a certain way, and that's what they push into the world, portray to their peers, and not everyone has to know what happens when they go home.
But they're the closest people are those people. Like when he had to fly in the 90 Day Fiance, he had to tell her, like, he's picking her up at the airport with a fake red carpet and he has a cowboy hat, cowboy boots. Then he has a matching outfit for her. He's like, I'm extra. He's like, I had to buy all this stuff for you and I had to do this. And then she's like, but we're going to live with your mom.
Yeah.
I cannot wrap my head around this. See, I could watch it. I want a whole show of it.
See, I have disdain for it. It really bugs me. I'm like, oh my God, how do you break somebody of that habit? I mean, it's people's relationship with money is a very interesting thing and stuff, and you have to humility, and it's an addiction of sorts. It's almost like it's not an addiction in the sense that they're going to have progressive illness and that kind of thing, but it's that they need to practice some of the things you're familiar with in recovery in life, and so it's sort of a shopping addiction, spending addiction. Debting addictions, very common.
Yeah, I think a big reason too, probably why I'm so into it is because I have the opposite. Like I have zero addiction to stuff. I'm such a minimalist. That stuff means nothing. Like when it's like, if you were gonna grab one thing leaving your house, and it's like, pictures or like my phone or this because pictures are on there, but like nothing.
For me though, my thing is I need security financially, and the idea of him squandering his security is like. It's like scary to me. It's I can't believe it.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you?
And then to go out and tell, and like, by the way, not even tell people in the outside world, but tell your mom who you're living in her bedroom, like, Mom, you never have to worry about me.
Yeah.
I could sell fucking ice to an Eskimo.
Yeah, that's narcissism again.
I cannot get enough. We should make I want to make a reality show called like Ballin' and Broke. And it's just people who can't fucking, because it's insane. Like you watch them go home.
A lot of those guys in New York too?
No, I never met anyone like that until I moved to Vegas.
Oh yeah.
And then in LA, big time. But in New York, it's like New York is just 24/7 of people calling you on your shit.
Yeah.
Like when I had this bachelor party I just went to, it was 12 guys from New York. You couldn't say one fucking thing. Like when I was in LA, if you had an Uber driver and he was like, I saw a dragon yesterday, people would be like, oh, what color was it? Like, what are the people from New York are like, you didn't see a fucking dragon.
Yeah.
Like, what are you, stupid?
Yeah.
Like, And that's just it. Like when you're dealing with that all day, the uphill battle to fight that, to be some fake this, that, it's too much for people. They're just like, I'm moving to LA.
Well, it's weird. That kid lives in South Dakota. I've been to Rapid City, right?
Yeah. He's South Dakota.
It's a very cool city. It's a very, but it's very low key. It's like everyone's just kind of, sort of Midwestern-y kind of thing. And it's got some nice things, but it's tiny. And the idea of him running around South Dakota, I just can't even process that either.
It's so, and I could watch it all. Like, I'm starting to get to a point with things like even the Real Housewives. I'm like, I don't want to watch this anymore. It's just not doing it for me.
I got to interview Julia, the Russian girl, on that season where they lived on the farm.
Oh, great!
Because I booked her on a streaming show because I wanted to talk to a Russian person. I said, "How do you feel about what's happening?" And she was great.
Yeah,
she was a great interview, and she's much more than she was sort of portrayed on the show.
What do you think of his parents? What do you think of his parents?
I think a lot of that was TV. I think the producers, because I don't know, I don't like them.
I think his mom was a certain way and they leaned into it.
Correct,
and the dad wasn't that much. But I think the mom had a lot of that naturally.
Yes,
what was
I
going
agree. I agree. It was not like it wasn't there.
Yeah.
And it was weird, and then Julia was way the other way. Like, I want to fuck your son whenever I want to. It's
yeah.
Mom's like, and
then they're like, but you have to be naked in the hot tub.
Yes.
I mean, these moments are just incredible.
And then I liked the Ukrainian girl, Yara and Jovi. That was interesting.
Oh, amazing. Yeah.
When he goes to the strip club.
Yeah. They were good.
So I tried to book her too to talk about I wanted to hear about it. These are interesting. I just think it's interesting to take people that people have a television relationship with and then talk to them about their family back in the Ukraine and what you're doing and how you feel about this. Let them be real people for a second. And I couldn't get her they wouldn't let her book for some reason. I think they're afraid of what she would say.
You know what else is interesting that you just made me think about is it also took me going, I knew guys in New York who enjoyed strip clubs, but going out to Vegas and LA, you meet guys who are fully addicted to strip clubs and so much. And I think people in New York, when they go to strip clubs, they go, yeah, this feels good, this whatever, but I know she's bullshitting me.
Yeah.
And in LA and fucking this, they're like, oh, she's in love with me, man. She's just
so all my strip club information comes from Annie. So
this nigga, I swear to God, bro.
So
Annie, I'm with you, bro. I lived in Vegas for a year and a half. I was there every night.
Annie is an expert. You're good. I just want to talk to an expert. So do you get what he's talking about?
I said that on the show that you asked me about it. Yeah. The dudes always think oh yeah, I'm gonna marry her one day. It's like, bro, I'm tripping. You realize that's the tactic, right?
Yeah.
It's just they are just making money. Now I think it's sort of. This is going to sound crazy, but I think it's nice of them to be nice to these assholes. You know what I mean? Good. Thank you, ladies. You're really, these guys, and the guy seems sad to me. I feel bad for them.
100%. All that. I mean, listen, if a guy goes to a strip club once a year and wants to hear that, I don't feel bad for him. But the guys who need to go.
But Annie, what I was seeing at the club we went to, I know, but hang on, because I'm just so curious about this environment. We got to talk to Annie about
this. You're right.
Yeah. Well, Annie, he spent time in one, right, when he was younger.
Yeah, he's a full-on expert.
Yeah. We got to the club, with my wife, and he knew how to work. I was shot of water.
Yo.
No, he said, I feel like home. I admired that about you, my friend. Don't you understand that?
Yeah, but I get you admire, but it ain't what you were admiring ain't there, my man. You talking about I was making moves, bro. I said, please come here. And you're like, what was that fucking that hand action that you just did?
As a poker player, when somebody's voice goes really high, it means they're lying.
You son of a...
I love you, Annie. Annie, I love you.
No, you don't.
I do, man.
We are
but
not
I'm just telling you.
Team.
Wait, hold on. Let me rephrase that. I love you, Annie. I love you. You're my boy.
So, but listen, guys. What I saw at that club kind of surprised me. And you tell me if I was seeing this or not, Annie. I really want some information. I'm not bullshit. I'm not trying to out you or make you feel bad. I really am curious. I saw guys that looked like this was sort of like their living room. And they sort of knew the girls by name and stuff, and they sort of were playfully engaged with them. Not like, this girl loves me, I'm going to marry her. It's just like, these are my friends for my entertainment, and they cooperate with me. And this is, I could be watching TV, but I'm sitting in my Barca chair in the strip club instead. Was I seeing that? Did you see those guys there?
But we talked about this last time.
A
I
little
wasn't
bit.
looking at the dudes. I don't know.
You don't know.
I wasn't looking
Well, a
at
lot
the
of
dudes.
them
You were
seem-
really infatuated with the dudes that were at the strip club.
You're like, you see that guy over there? What you think?
We were
Yeah.
looking at everything else besides
He's like,
that.
what you like?
No,
What you think? Mental illness?
you know,
What you think about
look,
it?
I appreciated.
Does that guy have TikTok eyes? What do you think, Nadav?
Why does he get his dance that way?
Look, I appreciated what was going on. I'm just saying. I just was. Look, it was
Me
like a
too, man. I think we just saw other things going on.
To me, it was like
There's
being-
something for everyone at a strip club, you know? That's what's great about them.
For me, I liked what I was looking at, and I felt like an anthropologist from Mars who had been dropped into a new environment.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
all. I'm noticing and interested, and I'm not understanding all of it.
Well, it is because when I was going to a strip club a lot, I'm not afraid to admit it, like some people. But when I was going a lot, I had girls for different stuff. Like I had the girls who like I like to sit and talk and laugh with, and then I had girls that I like to go in the back with, and then there were like the bartender was a different mode, like where sometimes you would just sit up
And
there
these
and
were
talk
sort
to
of your
her.
friends that you paid to be your friends, kind of.
No, it was more so that like I just had a really good like I wasn't spending like tons of money at these places.
What is that relationship though you had with each of them?
Well, to be honest, it was the only place I could go at Tuesday at 2 p.m. and not be looked at like this guy's out of his fucking mind because I would be on so much drugs
Yeah.
and like everything. So it was like I knew I could go there on a Tuesday at 2 o'clock and it would just be totally cool and normal. And they never ever would be like, hey, you are like never question my
No, I get
addiction.
that. I get
They
that.
would never push back.
But was it them just being friendly, or just whoever comes in here we have to be friendly to?
no, it was like the same way I would go to a bar,
No,
but
for
instead they were
them.
naked chicks.
But what was their, why be friendly to you even? Why even?
Well, I think like when you first go in there, it's one thing, but after like you're going there over
You're a
and
regular,
over,
yeah.
and they see like you're a guy from New York. You don't take their fucking bullshit. You're not one of these guys who's like, please, can I have the? Oh my God, you're so beautiful. Like there are girls who are like, fuck that guy, and then there's whatever percentage of the girls who are like, oh, I like this. This is just a dude who's
just
in here
hanging out
chilling.
with us. Yeah, just right.
Yeah,
just understands why we're all here.
Because there's girls who are in there who are like, hey, you want to dance? Do you want to fucking? I'm on the clock. Like, do you want to do this? And
Right.
then there are 20% of girls who are in there who are like, I have fun doing this and I make money.
Yeah.
And those are the
why
girls
not,
I would
sort of why not do both?
Right,
why
and-
not enjoy this or be friends?
100%. And those are the girls that I would
Hang out with.
hang
Got
out
it.
with. Yeah.
Hi, Miguel from California. Before my last relapse, which was 8 days ago, I had not done meth in 3 years. Oh, dude. Sadly, a relapse took 3 hits, which would usually only leave me high for 1 or maybe 2 days. In addition to the 3 hits of meth, I took Rhino liquor store sex pill. Anybody know what that is? Maybe we should look that up.
No. I remember, there were some people that were really into those gas station sex pills.
No, I know, but
pretty
Rhino particularly, is that anything I
A
should
couple of those and some sweatpants. That's Eddie's Tuesday night, right, Eddie?
Now, see, he's being mean to you, dude. I would never say something like
Annie,
that.
let me ask. I don't know if Annie goes a lot. Annie, do you have special pants you wear when you go?
To the
To strip clubs?
Yeah.
Bro, I've been to a strip club once in the past 5 years, and it was with that nigga because he wanted to go. I don't go to strip clubs, man.
I love it. I love it.
That's the best. So, I'm so happy now.
Yeah, you
Got me
usually got to go to
fucked up.
Bellevue to get called the N-word, right?
But it doesn't have such impact. It just doesn't land the same way on my heart. Rhino liquor store sex. Well, look that up because I'd like to know what the agreement is. He says now he's been high for 8 days. I'm not sure because if I feel I will be high for at least a few more days. This is not
That's
high.
bad, right?
This is mania or something.
And then
Yeah.
they say some shit about like if it's past 4 hours, that ain't good.
This is something else. This is like you after the Molly where you're shaking.
Yeah,
This is
rattled.
something of. Look at these things. Oh
Yeah,
my
this
God.
this stuff.
Can they say what's in it?
Rhino
Health dangers.
Yeah, the rhinos.
The rhino's in it. So we
Rhino
don't-
horn.
No, it's not rhino horn. There's no way.
Ain't that like an aphrodisiac or whatever?
It's supposed to be, but don't please everybody. Don't even think. They kill rhinos to get the damn horn off.
There's like
because
pencil
humans-
shavings at
because-
the gas station. It's not
right,
rhino
because
horn.
humans are assholes. certain thing, I love humans, but some stuff we do is assholes. So we can't find the ingredients anywhere, and they have multiple different products. So
yeah, I mean, I think the thing that everyone likes about them is that they're usually contaminated with something that was mixed in a vat before.
Thank you for that.
Rhino 69, then there's Rhino 7, so there's degrees. Rhino 50K.
Yeah, these things are labeled like fucking scratch-off cards.
Yeah, that's what they look like.
Yeah.
Extreme 70,000.
Have a hard dick and win $1 million.
And they aren't even that effective at dick hardening, to be fair. They just sort of have stuff in it, yohimbe and stuff like that kind of works a little bit.
Take some maca, some ashwagandha, horny goat weed.
There's medicines that actually work if you have a problem. But in any event, I don't know what's happening here, but I'm concerned about it, and I'm more concerned the meth might have had something in it that perhaps I don't know what is done. I don't know what, and I don't. Somebody would have to sort of examine you to see what kind of state you're in, see what you're still experiencing.
See, I want to know what that first 12 hours was like.
Yeah,
because he had plans. He was fucking hitting some meth and taking some Rhino pills. We're getting the sad story. Day 8. I want to know what happened hour 6. What was he doing? Was he loving it? That's what I want to know.
Where'd he go?
Yeah.
I used to smoke weed almost every day for many years, quit for a year, then recently got back into it. Haven't slept through a full night since I was 4. I wake up 3 to 4 times a night. I took a hit of my cartridge, then climbed into bed to sleep when I started to get extremely anxious. My breathing was very inconsistent. My heart started beating quite rapidly and intensely before I felt what I could only explain as my heart exploding. I felt a pop in my chest and everything went numb. Oh boy. These are all... Keep doing drugs, everybody. It's awesome. It's very healthy. I wasn't breathing, but was conscious. I felt like I was looking from behind my own eyes, so that's dissociation. Checked for a pulse, felt none. My girlfriend and dog were asleep next to me. Trust me, you had a pulse. You would not be moving about if you didn't have a pulse. Finally got in the shower and slowly started to come back to reality, normal breathing.
He made it to the shower with no pulse.
Yeah, right. If you ever heard of something, this was a panic attack. Yes. This was a panic attack. And weed can induce panic attacks, which is interesting. Both coming off can do it and being on it. I took care of a patient once that was had lifelong severe panic after like the 4th time he smoked weed. Now, and that's not to say that he might not have had panic attacks inevitably anyway, but weed can sometimes open that pathway. Panic is like a circuit in your brain that can get opened up from psychological experiences and depression or from substances. So
I had my first, so again, Xanax was one of the things I did every day for like 8 years, but I never liked it. Like I was never like, oh, I love the Xanax high. Like I did it once when I was 23 and drank, and I was like, this shit's the worst. Like, well, I don't, this is not my speed.
Down. You like the upper stuff.
No, I like the uppers, but I know I loved like opiates, but I just didn't like the Xanax. Like the Xanax was like, bleh,
yeah.
I don't
doesn't slow down everything.
And it also like I didn't feel high on it. Like I don't know, it was just a very different thing for me. That I was like,
so you took on it for 8 years,
right? Yeah. So the reason that I
took it for 8 years.
That's exactly what happened. What happened? So I was like 23, 24. I don't know the age, and I had my first panic attack, and I knew a friend who had panic attacks, and I was like, oh my God, what am I supposed to do? And he's like, just take Xanax. And I never asked anyone else another thing about him. I just took Xanax for the next 8 years.
To control the panic attack?
Yeah, to not get anxiety.
So funny. It's such an addict thing.
Yeah, where I was just like, oh, okay, this worked. And like nobody ever told me like, hey man, the withdrawals from that are really bad. So I wasn't taking a lot. I was taking like 3 milligrams a day.
That's a lot. It's not a little. A little is 0.125 milligrams or even 0.25. A lot is a milligram.
Yeah, so I would take
3 bars.
I would take no. A bar is 2. So I would take a bar and a half. Yeah. So I would do. I would usually.
And now think about it. They could kill you because they slide fentanyl in there.
Right. Yeah. So I would take. Oof. Like 0.5 6 times a day, or like I'd start with like a milligram or whatever. But I was.
And you're in withdrawal all day long. So you're essentially. Would you get up in the middle of the night have to take one?
What?
Would you get up in the middle of the night?
Oh, never. Yeah. No, because I would do so much drugs that I would sleep for 18 hours. Jesus. Because what I would do was I would. So what my process was, I'd wake up in the morning and decide, is today a drinking day or is today a pill day?
How would you decide?
Just how I felt, or like, oh, it's somebody's fucking birthday, or like it's
drinking.
Whatever. Like we're not taking pills.
Yeah.
And then because I would never mix pills with drinking, which is great. Like I mean I tried it, but I never like was like, oh, this is my thing. So I would and then if I decided that, I would take I usually start with like a Percocet, and then I would play like fucking online poker, or like do video game, like whatever the fuck it was, like isolate and just like be in a zone. The next thing you know, it'd be time to go to bed. But in that 18 hours, I would be alternating like, oh, is it time to take a Xanax or is it time to take a Percocet, smoking weed, whatever, you know?
Did you play poker professionally or just sort of recreationally?
So when I was 18, I went to like a poker place to play poker, and like I just instantly was like, I'm better than these guys. Like I just have it. And my mom was like, when your grandma used to babysit you, she would just play cards with you all day.
Oh wow.
So you knew how to play, like all this stuff where like people had to learn. I was like, oh, this is like in me, you know? So then I went to Vegas to play, and I was just like, I love this shit so much. But which is weird because like I hated, I mean, for a little bit I liked it, but then like I hated like gambling, like roulette or blackjack or this.
Just
but,
dice numbers,
Yeah, where like poker is like you play against other people, you know, the casino has no edge against you. Where I was like, why would I play blackjack against a casino when they win every time? This is so stupid. You know, and I really like, I looked at it, I took it like a job where like I was studying poker videos 8 hours a day. Like I was very like, when I was into it, it was something that
And would you just go to make money, or to sort of support yourself, or were you actually trying to go pro sort of thing?
So I like, it's weird.
I don't know how that works even.
And even when you are as deep in poker as you could possibly be, you still don't know how it works. You're like, when do I say like I'm a pro poker player? Because it was all I was doing, and I was making money doing it, but I had money from Sopranos, so it wasn't like without this I don't.
Yeah.
You know, like I could leave for a month and not play poker if I didn't want to. And if I was having a downswing, which every poker player has, I wasn't like, oh shit, I can't pay my bills.
Right.
So there's this weird thing of like, when are you a professional? When are you not?
Yeah.
But there was a time where like 5 days a week I was at the casino, and all I wanted to do was take in more information about poker and learn about it.
You still play it?
Yeah, but not as much. Like
It's a fun game.
I stopped in the beginning of COVID because the casino shut down, and people like play online. I can't play online.
Yeah,
like the
You have to see people.
yeah. And so like,
Do you do anything to? Do you wear sunglasses or do anything?
No, all that shit. Once you're playing for like, you know, I've been playing 10 years. Like, so Nadav's come to the casino, right, Nadav?
Yeah, I ran into you there one time.
Yeah.
In Vegas?
No, L.A.
At a Hollywood Park casino, I think.
Yeah, Hollywood
Yeah.
Park. It was great. And
Wow.
but I don't do like, you know, once you've been playing for a certain amount of years, you know, like I could flop like the best hand in the world and I won't even flinch.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you're just like, oh, you're more focused on like, what is this guy doing? What does he have? Than playing your own cards, you know?
Interesting. Very interesting game. I'm not good at it, but I always enjoy it.
Yeah, so. And the best part about it to me is like, there's never an end. Like you're never like, oh, I've learned everything about poker.
No.
Like every day there's something new, and
and the human across from you is different.
Yeah,
and
that's a great thing too about like sitting across from people in Vegas is you're like the Terminator. Like you see them and you're dissecting everything. Wow. You're like, look at the shoes. Like this guy's wearing uncomfortable shoes. He doesn't plan on sitting here like 16 hours for 16 hours like I do. So I use that to my advantage. Like I know he's gonna play more hands than somebody like me who's in a fucking pajamas ready to play for 18 hours if I have to.
In other words, you would sort of throw in your hands unless they're good. Was that what happened?
No, it was more so like, so if you see somebody, you could play different ways, but like if you see somebody who's going to be a lot looser, it makes you give them like a wider range of hands. So you're like, I know he could have this, and also like, if I know that he's not here for a long time, I could bet more, and he's in a mode of like, I'm going to call or I'm going to fold, where really good poker players will go, well, if he bets this much, I'll call. But if he bets this much, I'll fold. So then you're playing those games with those players where like, I know if a guy has a big hand like that guy and he plans on being here for 2 hours, he doesn't want to fold. If you go play poker once a week, you don't want to fold a big hand. Right. If you're there every day and you know it's the right fold to make, it's a lot easier.
And so I understand what you're saying. It's other people do too. When you say it's like what's her name, Dana, one of the twins that plays poker, always says it's making the right decision, not necessarily the decision that's I don't know how to say this. It's like
it's the right decision over
for this
a long
circumstance.
period of time. Then and that's the thing. When you watch people who are just playing for that in that circumstance, but it's like, no, you have to be like, well, I know if I make this fold 100 times, it'll be right 90. You don't worry about if it's right that time.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, I want to watch some videos with you before we wrap this thing up, because I was looking forward to this. I understand you're a fan of some of these videos.
I don't know what we're going to see.
Your mom's house? I don't either.
I love it.
So I know what you're going to see.
Nadav has set these up for us.
Don't make me sick to my stomach, please.
Are these all horrible or hilarious? Or are they
yes.
TikToks? You had some TikToks from the last show, too.
Yeah, we're pulling an audible here. I'm showing you just people getting hurt.
Love it.
Oh, she bounced. My goodness. All right, keep going.
Hold on. How badly could she have gotten hurt?
Probably not that bad.
There could have been a pop, but like I go by horrible or hilarious by if I feel it in my body, I usually go like, I didn't really like that.
I go by really whether I think there's a serious head injury or they could have like injured the spine. I don't think.
Yeah, I don't
Looks like
care
she
about
fell
that.
right on the spine.
She did, but she's very muscular and it was not flat. It was sort of she was sort of rolled up when
But that yelp that she
the
did,
yell sounded bad. She hurt
Yeah.
herself. I mean, she's hurt.
one more
but
time.
she's
for
not
good
damaged. Ouch. Ouch. Yeah. Ah.
Well, she's moving her arms after. I know that's good, right?
And legs too. She's rolling around. She
Yeah.
knows. She's taken. I see somebody who's taken this fall and falls like it more than a couple of times. So that's all. Just damn that again. And by the way, they're not on concrete. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
They're,
True.
they're in
yeah,
a gym.
This floor is meant for
Yeah,
falling.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay,
what about
now.
this one?
What's he doing?
So he is working on a fire hydrant.
Yeah.
Oh no!
When you're from New York City, you know what your boy's doing.
Oh no!
Damn.
That was fairly horrible. It wouldn't have been as horrible, but he got wrapped around that pole, that no parking sign. Did you see that part?
Yeah, can we see it again?
That's where he got hurt.
Of
Yeah.
course we can, Rob.
Fuck.
It's bad enough getting that force into your body, but then getting
So he's
hit.
trying to unrelease the valve and
Bam!
then it just takes him.
See the pole? That was the bad part.
Now, actually, Drew, I have a follow-up question for this.
Yeah.
Because, I've been going through a rabbit hole of just watching pressure washer videos.
Oh my God, you and Annie.
What?
It's just so strange to
So
me.
they were always saying that it's just like, oh, careful with like this touching your bare skin. You always need to have gloves on because there's such high pressure that it could just wedge stuff into you that's hard to dislodge.
Fuck.
Is there anything here where it's just like, oh, that pressure is just spraying bacteria and like
Oh no.
like shrapnel bacteria, if you
No,
will?
I mean, if there was, no.
Every kid in New York City would be dead.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's what we did in the
Yeah.
summer. You turn on the fire hydrant, and that's where like kids are playing.
With
in
this
the,
pressure though, and isn't it usually
no,
going up?
usually no. Yeah, that was pretty intense.
No, I think you're okay. It's really that it can tear your skin. It can tear
Right.
your skin off. That's
And
the
then
problem.
wedge bacteria into it
And you get infected.
inside the body.
I mean, you imagine it like a bullet. I'm not thinking of it that way.
Will you swim in Lake Austin? Is that shit all safe, do you think?
I don't know. I've not spent enough time here. I run by the river. I love it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
The birds certainly get along.
There's a big paddle boarding community here. Maybe it's best to not swim in it because they're standing on top of the.
Oh no, because I've already swam it.
Oh, okay.
I'm just
Relax.
saying, like, I just want to know
It's
what.
probably okay. It's probably okay.
Yeah.
All right, keep going. I think we've seen this one. Or this guy has. Oh, that's not
See, I felt that not in my
That's
balls, in my dick,
good. Yeah.
which is crazy. I don't know why that happened.
Let's see that again.
Yeah. Oof.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, yeah. Because usually you feel stuff in your
Yes,
balls.
yes.
But that was just dick.
Yes. Oh. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't like the way he hit his face. He's not going to be permanently, I mean, he's in his brain, but he may need some dental work. Let's put it that way.
God,
And he
so
may
you
have
think-
crushed
bad.
his zygoma here too.
Is the what?
Zygoма. You want to show a picture of the zygoma?
I'd love to.
So here we go. Just so we know what we're talking about. Zygoma, yeah. There it is. See that it's the thing that sort of has a bridge to it.
So that's not an orbital bone?
No. I don't think he hit his orbit. I think he hit his cheek. And the zygoma's attached to that, and that's sort of the weakest link. So there you go.
Fuck.
All right, we got one more horrible or hilarious for you.
Okay. I'm ready.
Sorry, that was
I've
him
enjoyed these so
yelling,
far, by the way. These were good ones.
Yeah,
We
no one's
made-
dying in these.
We made
right?
Rob's dick hurt, so it's
Yeah.
all good. It's
Yeah.
good. Uh-oh. Screwballs on parade are never goes well.
Wow.
Uh-oh. Oh. He's fine.
Yeah,
he's fine.
Totally.
He got up and finished his beer. I promise.
Yeah, he licked it off the floor.
Yeah, maybe. Look how the beer is spread all over the place.
That's
It's hysterical.
so
Looks like a
great.
spin art.
Yeah.
No, he's fine. It wasn't even. It was neither horrible nor hilarious. Well, sort of hilarious. So I want to see some TikToks. I haven't seen TikToks with you guys in a while, and I'm sort of jonesing for that.
Christina P. bringing
Hey,
an
by the
element
way,
to the show.
yeah, she brought for her thing, hers.
Her YMH just that took YMH to another level.
No,
to me.
she has been on her game again lately. By the way, you notice the difference?
It never went away.
No,
Drew.
the cat on a surfboard told me something was wrong. And by the way, she heard me say it and corrected course because I had dinner with her right after that, and she's like, "You're right. I'm right. I'm too much to the kids." Yeah.
So can you talk about what I think is maybe the best TikTok of all time, which is the Down syndrome people in drag? Did you see that one?
No, I don't think I saw that one. Do we have? Did
Give
I
me
see
a couple
that?
minutes.
Do I get to show this to Dr. Drew for the first time?
I think so.
I wish I didn't even say the
Well,
title.
let's talk about it.
It gives too much away.
So why can't Down's syndrome people have gender fluidity? And
That's the question.
There's no problem with that. I mean, Downs is a kind of a spectrum. You know what I mean? You can be very severely delayed and not so much.
Well, I want to quote Christina P. here, just so everyone knows. I'm not saying this. Christina P. said this. She said,
Are these words that we have to bleep out?
no, because Christina P. said
I know
it.
she says stuff that I often have to bleep.
She said, how is it any different than putting my dog in a sweater when you're dressing the Down syndrome people in drag?
So other people are doing it to them.
Well, we just the imagination runs wild.
Okay,
you don't know.
So if the parents are doing this, a severely impaired Down's patient, I would say it's why people, by the way, object to people doing that to animals. It's a little exploitative. It's not the animal's choice. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
She's got a point.
Yeah.
Now, a more sort of cognitively present Downs type patient would easily choose to do it on their own.
Well,
and
wait
could
till you
participate.
see Ernesto.
Okay, I wanna
Is
see
that his
Ernesto.
name?
Yeah.
What's the last
Francesco.
guy's name? Francesco.
Oh, I cannot.
All
wait.
right.
Thank you, Rob, for bringing me up to date
Yeah.
on what
this
important
is-
YMH.
So this is from the.
I feel like I'm back in my first visit to your mom's house. Where
It's an
somebody
honor.
Goes, what do you think of this?
This is a 10 out of 10 for me.
This is
Okay.
from the hit group Drag Syndrome.
what? What does
They're
that
called
mean?
Drag Syndrome.
What does that mean?
They're
Like instead of
down.
Down
They have
syndrome.
Down syndrome and they're
Drag
drag. They're in
syndrome.
drag.
Is it a TikTok title or
It is a group of people who have Down syndrome who are dressing in drag.
And do they like have a community and talk to each
They're
other?
like a syndicate.
No, but I mean, do they know each other?
I'm not very involved in the community. I just
We
have the
should be.
clip.
This is your next
I'll
RPC
tell you,
visit.
yeah, why don't you look into it, Drew, and report back to
I need
us.
some help on this.
Yeah,
I
deep
need
dive,
to go.
Drew,
yeah,
please.
Yeah. I'm in.
Drew deep dives.
My name is Phoenix Star.
And I am Lady Mercury.
Nikita Girls, my darling queens. Francesco.
What are you laughing at, Drew?
Francesco.
Yeah. Yeah. So what do you think here? You said that there are different levels. Can we get some level checks?
Well, I love them. I love them.
Me too.
Right?
Yeah.
And I mean that not facetiously.
No.
I like everything about what they're doing.
Love 'em.
They're on their own doing this. They're into it. They're in. I don't know quite what they're. I have. We must find them. I need to talk to them.
We must find them.
We must find these folks.
Yeah.
But do we have more Francesco so I can understand what's going on there?
All we have. This is all we have.
There's one more that Christina P sent me.
A Francesco one?
I don't know if Francesca's in it, but
I
it's
see. I
just-
can't tell if Francesco is more delayed or or Francesco.
Really, because I think I could.
No, or Francesco just will have none of this. Like she's
right.
here, and I don't know is that he or she. I don't know what her pronouns are, but
We're in
I-
trouble already.
Yeah,
Let's-
but I don't know if she's just like fuck y'all. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or if
Sick of it.
Yeah, or if she's more impaired. I can't tell. I just can't tell.
But if Francesco is that impaired, do you think it's okay to?
No, it did not feel right to me to do that
Yeah.
to her because she does not like the other 3 or 4 or whatever are way into it. Good for them.
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
like
yeah.
this is
Nikki
like
Taga.
it's a party.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, yeah.
I like seeing that.
Lady Mercury.
Oh, they're just this is I want to see their show.
Yeah.
It feels like there's a show attached to that.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I
But
don't
what
feel
would
that,
Francesco do in the show, right?
yeah, Francesco, I makes me sad. This is back to being sad around your mom's house. I know when I'm seeing an important video at your mom's house because I feel sad.
Yeah, but you get a full ride.
I got a full ride on this one, thankfully.
Yeah.
Yes, the other guys gave me the high. The other folks gave me. Is there's no more for us in this?
That's all you get, Drew.
Oh my God.
I love it, man.
Rob,
I love it. That's a 10 out of 10 to me.
I know. I need you
TikToks
to come
go.
with me on some of these expeditions.
Well, yeah, we gotta. You know what you could do.
Okay.
You come up with a list of things, and then I want to hear if you can figure out if I would go or not. Because I'm telling you, the dinner I would go. The dinner with
so far,
RPC,
there's not been. I've been 4 for 4 or whatever it is.
Yeah, the dinner RPC, I'm down. But when you were like, come to RPC's crib, no, I can't.
Yeah.
I'd be sick.
Well, I get the zone you're not into. I get it.
Right. Yeah. So that's what I want.
It sort of goes in the smell zone. Things that have odd smells, you're not really. Whatever it is, if it has an odd smell, probably not going to be your thing.
Yeah, but I would deal with a bad smell if the payoff was so good. But the payoff to be in his apartment, it's like I've already seen.
It's very different that if one of these guys shit their pants and you had to deal with that than being in an RPC's apartment. Those are different things.
Yeah, because also as a guy, you walk into a bathroom and you smell shit. Like it doesn't live with you.
Exactly.
You know, where like RPC.
People don't understand these smells that stay. They literally stay in your nose. I mean, you smell it for days afterwards.
And then in your brain.
And it's not really a memory. It's like there.
Right. And then when you smell that in the future, it brings you back to that place. And it's just a horrible, it's a real horrible thing.
RPC, this is not about you. This is about Rob and the stuff he was exposed to in the apartments.
I love RPC.
Right. We love you. We love you.
Yeah. It's more, it's interesting. I wonder like, what people do people have different sensitivities to their senses of like, for me, smell is so
Tolerance.
bad. Yeah. We're like seeing something, I can get over it quick.
Yeah,
but like,
I don't like seeing stuff either.
Right.
So yeah, it is interesting how we have different intolerances. It's an intolerance, and it sort of goes towards disgust and fear. Disgust and fear are sort of the feelings attached to it.
And it's also how long, right? Because like if it's a 1 second smell, I could deal with anything. But when it's that, I know it's going to be with me for 3 days.
But a 1 second visual,
fuck.
A 1 second visual could ruin you.
Yeah, that's very true.
It's a little different.
Yeah.
All right, Nadav, am I done here? Because I could just keep going.
Yes, you are done.
All right. Well, pleasure, my friend. Good to see you again.
Yeah,
I'm so glad you came around.
Thanks for having me.
We now have missions that we must go on. We have things in our future that we must do together. The rest of your staff from Pajama Cast and Pajama Pants, everybody's good.
Amazing. Jamie Lynn's living. She would come do this whenever. She lives here.
Great.
Now she moved here. I might be moving here, not really sure. And then my other friend Kasim is doing incredible.
Great. We'll say hi to them for me.
Yeah.
And we thank you all for being here. We'll see you next time.
All conversations and information exchanged during participation in the Dr. Drew After Dark podcast or interaction on the drdrew.com website is intended for educational and entertainment purposes only. Do not confuse this with treatment or physician medical advice or direction per se. You must always follow your medical professional's advice and direction. Nothing on these podcasts or posted on this site supplements or supersedes the relationship and direction of your medical caretakers. Please understand, I am not playing the role of physician in this environment per se. I'm educating. I am a licensed physician with specialty boards in American Board of Internal Medicine and American Board of Addiction Medicine.